Welcome to your weekly AI news in 20 minutes or less. I'm Jonathan Green, host of the Artificial Intelligence Podcast. As always, there were dozens of stories that didn't make the cut this week. We only cover the news that affects how you can use artificial intelligence to grow your career and business. If you're looking for news about fundraising, investments, and the coolest news, this isn't the place. My goal is to give you as much information that is useful to your life in as little time as possible. This week's episode is sponsored by my bestseller, ChatGPT Profits. Now, I would absolutely love it if you headed over to Amazon and paid full price for a copy to show your support. But of course, I appreciate you being here. Your time is valuable, and you can grab a copy absolutely free right now at the link right below this video. Because of the holidays, a lot of people took some time off. It even looks like the AI has slowed things down a little bit. So we don't have as much news as we normally do. We just have two stories, one which is quick and one which is a carryover from last week, but I want to make sure stays on your radar. The first of our stories is from The Verge. This is the New York Times is suing OpenAI and Microsoft for copyright infringement. Basically, New York Times is upset that ChatGPT read all their past editions and is now using their content as part of their training material. What's interesting about this story, and the only reason it's worth covering, is that I guarantee you the New York Times is publishing content written by ChatGPT right now. We've already caught Sports Illustrated doing it, and it's a guarantee the New York Times is doing it because every major publisher started playing around. It's one of the ways they're adapting to basically the less amount of money, the lowered funds they have for their newsrooms. This is a good way to fill in the gap. So they're using the tool that they're upset was trained by their material. It's very interesting to see. Something tells me what they're actually looking for here is not a bunch of money, but actually free access or free resources or the ability to kind of get some first access tools with OpenAI. Be interested to see how this plays out because this is going to affect other news organizations and how people start to use. Now, you should know that all of the major AI platforms, including Anthropic, are now offering protection for copyright infringement. So if you accidentally get something generated by an AI that's copyrighted by someone else, they'll cover all the legal fees and protect you. So this is a story worth watching, but honestly, I think that it's New York Times being a little bit silly. You can't complain about a tool if you're using it. I'm inside of ChatGPT. You can write in my voice. I'm not complaining about it because I'm also a user. You can't be both. You have to be one or the other. Our biggest story is, of course, that MidJounrey in alpha has now entered version 6. Now, I was doing a lot of testing last week, as you can see on the screen, of the new features showing what can and can't happen. And so because we have a little extra time as a slow news week, I'm actually going to give you a quick demonstration of two things that are very interesting. The first is at alpha.midjourney.com, you can go to rate images. And it's going to show you two different images. And what you can look at is the prompt. This is what's important. Don't just choose which image you find more appealing. Find which image more accurately represents the prompt below it. Beach wedding couple prime lens or very clean PC gaming room wide angle view. Now, this is not a wide angle view, right? It's actually a very squeezed in room. It's the opposite. I would say it's a very compressed, not a wide angle, but this beach view, this prime lens is part of the type of prompting that they're getting away with. So phrases like 4K, 8K, 32 HD, and camera types and lens types, those are considered junk prompts now by MidJourney, and they're trying to do away with those, even though in the past they did make a large difference. Between these two, I think this is the better prompt because this looks like a very clean PC gaming room. It's got a lot of cool tools around it, but it also seems very small. Neither of these is perfect. Let's go to our next version. Here you can see 32-bit pixel art. Not 100% sure that this is 32-bit pixel art. I'm not an expert at 32-bit like I am at 8-bit. The second is 12-year-old American girl carrying school bag, cute, full body, long shot view, 140 cm. This takes a lot of skill. I cannot tell the age and height of this girl. I can't tell if she's 12, and I cannot tell if she's 140 cm. Now, my son is 136 centimeters, so I have some of my life that's very close to this height. On the left height, we have 32-bit pixel art, video game screenshot, kawaii punk, ARPG heroine, Yoshitaka Armano. So there's a lot going on here. Kojima, I do know his style. That's the guy who made Metal Gear Solid. So there's a lot of interesting things happening here. Does this look like Castlevania? A little bit to me. So you just choose which one is better. This is a way of training the AI. And I have another video covering this where I go a lot more detail if you want to watch that. Basically, you can tell the AI in version 6 what type of images you want it to generate when you give your prompts. Now, if we go into create, I have a really good example here because right before the update in version 5.2, I was doing some generation and looking for a bakery logo, and you can see very Russian, right? It feels very Cyrillic, the language. It wasn't able to do any words. Bate chuksi. And this is the day before the update. So this is it attempted to use the word bakery, B-A-N-H-A-R-V. This is as close as you can get to the word bakery, which is in the prompt. This is literally the day before they released version 6, so I just got lucky I happened to be testing it. So we can see other images from the same thing. It's getting close, like Babak Ateri. This was really as good as MidJourney was able to do. Now let's see what happens when we jump to the update. Here we can see I asked for ride or die. Perfect. And best friends for life. Still not perfect. Not every image is perfect, but you get pretty good winners in here. These are quite easy to edit. Now, if you're playing with these images and want to know how to edit them, I do have a video covering that as well with Canva's Magic AI. You can edit these texts in seconds and get a really good result. Best friends for life. This is perfect. The only thing I would want to do is increase the spacing here, but we still have a really accurate image. This is a huge jump, right? Even though it's not perfect, we've jumped way past the issues as far as the Cyrillic language. Now, some of the things I have been testing are the way prompts come out as far as artistic styles. You can see this is how Les Edwards, I was testing my MidJourney software to see if I need to change my prompt dictionary. Here we can see Fairy Punk is giving a different result. What's changed with MidJourney 6 is it's got a heavy lean towards realism. In the past, I think to cover up its flaws and its weaknesses, the AI was defaulting to cartoons, drawings, graphics, and now it's leaning towards, I want it to look like a real photo as much as possible. So it's pushing in this new direction. So you have to calibrate your prompts. Now, if you want realism, it's not as hard, but if you want cartoons or artistry, you actually have to push in that other direction. Now, I was testing a lot with coloring books. I know that's important to people testing to see. Very simple Kaiju adult coloring page. You can see we still have a lot of the gray shading issues. So coloring books in AI are still a bit of a challenge. It is still doable, but as we can see that the envelope hasn't been crossed. Even here, you can see we're getting amazing images, but there's just so much shading no matter what you test. The different ways of doing no shading, either with the phrase no shading or the 2 dashes to make it a variable, both aren't quite getting the results there, but we're doing pretty well with mandalas, right? The mandala here has no shading in it, so it still can do it sometimes and give us some useful images. So there are some possibilities here. I just want to show you a few examples, but as soon as we get into a fairy, we could, right here, there's some shading around the eyes, which is just creating a problem. There's some shading around her dress and in her hair that if it wasn't there, this would be a really amazing color book. So there are some really good things happening. I want to show you that MidJourney 6 is now there. You can do it all through the website. So if you didn't know that as well, and you'll notice now when you look through the feed of what other people are creating, there's a lot more realism happening, right? This looks like a real picture. There's some much higher jump in quality. So we're seeing some very interesting things happening. So while there is a lot of push in the anime, especially because MidJourney released their anime app, if you haven't downloaded that, it's great to grab to your phone. You can always be in the anime mode and create those cartoons. What we're seeing here is a new push. I hope you guys have checked out MidJourney 6. Now that's what I wanted to share with you guys. As always, it's important that I keep your news to 20 minutes or less, and usually it's 10 minutes or less because it's so important to me to give you much information as possible in as little time as possible. A lot of other things happen this week, but they just don't matter. Again, my name is Jonathan Green. I'm host of the Artificial Intelligence Podcast, which releases an episode every single Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I'll see you guys next Thursday with your AI news of the week in 20 minutes or less.